Hello there. I want to talk a little bit about strops. I've got a couple of stropping videos on my channel, but the lighting is always bad, and I'm going to remove them and let this be my standard stropping video. I've received some questions about stropping, and I thought I would just try to do a comprehensive type of video of what I do strop wise. Now, the first thing that I would tell you is don't go on eBay and buy a $12 or $15 strop. Buy a decent quality strop. Yeah, it'll cost you a little more, but it's worth it. You know, if you buy one of those cheap strops and come online asking people, why can't I keep an edge on my boker or whatever, they're going to tell you, you wasted your money. So, my opinion, this is the strop that I am currently using. It's a Tony Miller plain vanilla. He may still have some in stock. He goes in and out. It's a handmade strop, if any of you know who Tony Miller is. And it's his cheapest option for a two-piece quality strop. And it's like 45 bucks. It's a 2.5. He's, you know, you're not going to miss that half-inch, trust me, between this and a 3-inch. And it's wonderful stuff. Now, you can also go to Straight Razor Designs and get their natural, the natural, that's like 65 bucks. Or if you want the cheapest option that's out there, in my, to my knowledge right now, is Illinois. They make one for $33, and then the 127 is, which is kind of like the standard that everybody goes to, is the Illinois 127 is like 40 bucks at Shave Nation and probably Amazon as well. But buy a quality strop, look around and find the one you can afford, but spend a little money and buy a quality strop. It's going to make a difference in your shaving. Now, I used to recommend a company called Star Shaving. Unfortunately, this time I can't any longer recommend them. I may speak to you further on another video and kind of explain why, but right now I can't really recommend Star Shaving strops anymore at this time. So anyway, I'm going to have to adjust the camera. But the very first thing that I would say is buy a decent strop. But let me adjust the camera now. Now I have this on a little hook underneath my counter in the bathroom here, so that I can strop kind of in a downward fashion like Lynn Abrams. I saw that with him and thought, well, that's a really good way to do it. And so this cloth has a linen component, or actually this is cotton, but I end up saying linen all the time anyway, because it's just like generic for a cloth strop for me, and a leather side. The first thing you want to understand is that, and I'll demonstrate that on the linen side, when you strop a blade, you want to lay it down on the strop, and you want the spine and the edge to be laid on the strop with even pressure. In other words, you don't want to torque to the blade side or the spine side. You want them both to have the same amount of pressure. And the hold is, now there are guys that do this number right here. If that's comfortable for you and you can do all right, that's fine. But this right here, where you're just using your thumb and your finger, first finger, this right here helps you to maintain a little bit of balance, but basically you're turning it between your fingers like this. And what I do, I'll do 20 before the shave. I'll do 20. Before the 20 on linen, and I'm not going to go through the whole 20. Actually, before the shave, I do 30 on linen, not 20. 30 on linen, and then come over here Lay your straight razor down. What you want to do, I kind of rub my hands together first, is you want to rub down that strop really good until you start feeling it warm up good. This transfers some of the oils from your hand to the strop and helps to condition it, but it warms it up and helps to draw. And then I do 30 of the linen or the cloth component and 60 on leather. Now, you notice my strop is a little narrower, so what I'm doing, now I do more of almost an X stroke, but you can do a windshield wiper stroke if you have a narrow strop, or you can, I've seen some old shaving books, you can go, but you have to be careful because look right there, I nicked my strop just then. When you, because that's not a move that I normally make, when you are stropping, it's very important. I lay my spine on the blade, on the strop, and then I begin to move, and I'll drop the edge down on that strop. You see that the razor is always in motion before that edge actually begins to touch that strop. That way it helps to avoid nicks like what I just did on my strop. Also, you want to avoid, if I can get it down, you want to avoid hitting these caps with your razor edge, as it will dull them. But that's all I do. And a general rule of thumb, let me adjust the camera. A general rule of thumb for me is whatever number of drops I do, whatever number of passes I do on the cloth side, I double that on the leather. So 20, the only exception is at the end of the shave. At the end of the shave, I do 20 on cloth and 20 on leather. I do that because the cloth will help to wick away any moisture that's left on that blade, and the leather will warm that blade up really well so that I know that the blade is dry. And then at the end of the shave, what I do, one little square of toilet paper, fold it over like that, dry off the blade, and get it in there. Sometimes it's a pain. Dry off the inside of the scales, make sure it's beautifully dry. And if you don't have very much moisture on this, you can use this one, but it won't hurt to take another square of toilet paper and fold it up like this, dry. Another thing, when you're opening and closing razors, some of the vintage razors people have rescaled, or just because they're old, a lot of time the blade won't center completely correctly. It'll clear the edge of the scales, but it won't center. So when you go to close a straight razor, it's a good practice to always kind of watch, because you can push it a little bit to the left or the right with your thumb to make sure it clears when you close that straight razor. Just a tip from my experience, but I take mineral oil, don't know if you can see that. And I just do that right there to let it absorb really well into the paper. And then just a light coating of mineral on the blade. And a lot of times I'll come back, if I think there's too much oil on it, I'll come back with the cloth and with a dry part and just lightly do that to get any heavy coating of oil. You don't need much. Off the blade, put it away. That's the deal. So you'll come up with your own kind of your own numbers for before the shave and after the shave. Some guys don't strop after the shave. Some guys only use leather. It's all in what you like. I have found over time, because I've done all of it back and forth through the time that I've been straight shaving. I found that the cloth component, in my opinion, does add a bit to the straight razor. It does help to keep your razor clean. It helps to, if you've got a nick or something in your razor and you don't know it, a burr or anything like that, hopefully that cloth component will straighten all of that out before you go to your leather and scratch it all up and that kind of deal. Now, yes, I just put a nick on this brand new strop. You know what? First of all, not a big deal. But second of all, you're going to nick them. Sooner or later, you're going to nick them. That's a really small one. It won't even interfere with any of the stropping that I have to do or anything like that. It's going to happen, dude. If you strop slower and you're careful, maybe not as quickly as I just did. But that's something that I know. For me, no matter how careful I am, sooner or later I'm going to nick my strop. That's just the deal. And I just did it here, trying to demonstrate to you how to turn a straight razor. And I made the mistake that I told you guys not to do, and that is to, always keep the razor moving before that edge actually hits the leather. Always lead with the spine. All right, I hope that's been helpful to you and has given you any information that you need. I would also recommend Anthony Esposito's stropping videos, his stropping video for speed, because you don't need a whole lot of speed stropping a razor. It's you're just gonna nick up your strop just a little bit faster if you do that. Also, always Lynn Abrams stropping videos, his beginner strop video and all of that. So God bless you, and I hope that this helps. I'll talk to you later.